I took some shots from which I have selected these three right here. I just renamed the files so you can easily tell which is which. Okay, this one is the normal exposure shot. Let me drag it on the GIMP. I can see that the histogram is quite good. Well, there is just a bit of highlight clipping, not important. The mid-tones are captured with the most detail, but not the shadows, which are rather dark, and also not the highlights, which are rather washed out. I discard this now. This is the underexposure shot. I can see in the file's properties right here that is -1 step underexposure. This file gives the most detail here on the highlights, on the white marble. And finally, this one, this is the overexposure shot. Of course, no question about the highlights, but it gives the best detail on the shadows right here. Now I open these three files in the GIMP as layers. The next important thing is the order in the layer stack. Overexposured on top, underexposured in the second place, and the normal exposure on the bottom. On the underexposured layer, I add a layer mask with the option grayscale copy of layer so that I pick the highlights. On the overexposured layer, I add a layer mask with the option grayscale copy of layer but inverted so that I pick the shadows. Like a miracle, I can see already that my image is full of detail everywhere. Now, to refine the results and make my image perfect, there are quite a few things I can fiddle with. At first, there is the opacity slider for the first two layers. With this slider, on the first layer, I can adjust the strength, the luminosity of the shadows, and on the second layer, I can adjust the strength of the highlights. Then there are the three layers, 1, 2, 3, on which I can use tools like the Levels tool, for example. Then I have the two masks for the two layers, 1, 2, on which I can use the Levels tool or the Brightness Contrast tool. To evaluate the results of my work, I can create a new layer with New from Visible and check the histogram. With this simple trick, I have finally got an image with a full-blown histogram and rich in tones and detail on all areas.